streaming this conversation live today. So okay, so today it's all about men and boys engagement to end gender-based violence in Kenya. And I'm glad to be having some of our guests today whom I will get a chance to introduce them. But in the meantime, please feel free to share a comment or a chat into the comment section. I believe it's open to everyone. So feel free to just drop us a chat on the comment section. So to just take you a bit fast to brief direction about what Imara TV is. So Imara TV is Imara TV aims at educating the public using short films, film and entertainments to make the world a better place. So basically, this is done better by involving young people who maximize their skills of art, of their skills in animation to act films of different thematic areas, SRHR, GBV, among others, to just take the message out through education. So that's why we say it is educating and entertaining at the same time. So this is done through engagement with the UNESCO office through the Safe Campus program. And today we just want to dive deep into the conversation about men and boys engagement to end gender-based violence. So even before we start, I'm just going to play a short video for us, even as we look into ushering in our first speaker for the day. So just stay tuned for a minute. In Kenya, an average. So please tell me if you're able to see my screen. You can give me a thumbs up if you're able to see my screen. All right, there you go. In Kenya, an average of 50 women have been killed every year since 2016. From that number, women aged between 18 and 40 are most at risk.
These incidences are not isolated.
Some of these women are killed by men they know. Others are killed by men they are not in a relationship.
Take, for instance, the case of Agnes Chiro, a budding athlete who was killed in cold blood.
Later on, a young university student whose life was cut short earlier this year in Nairobi.
We must all. But where's the outrage?
These killings are not just an attack on the victim, but an attack on the family, the very family sought to protect. It is time to declare femicide a national crisis in Kenya.
Be your sister's keeper. Stop doing this.
Right, so this just gives us a glimpse of what you're looking to in today's conversation. So just to introduce our first guest of the day, allow me to introduce Ms. Samantha, who is our guest of the day, to just tell us what Rad Up is all about. So Samantha, if you can hear me.
Yes, Tony, I can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. So even before you jump in, allow me just to share my screen again to make people understand what Imara is before the demos. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining on the call today, Imara Radar app is an innovative mobile application developed by the University of Nairobi in partnership with UNESCO and the Sarachar Alliance, aiming to improve students' well-being. And according to that research, it understands that UNESCO and the university through the Center of HIV Prevention and Research on issues affecting the young people and how these issues could be tackled. So today we're going to have our first guest, that is Ms. Samantha, who is going to share more in details about the Radar app. So Samantha, take it on. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Aliri. I work with UNESCO on education for health and well-being of adolescents and young people. And I work on a project specifically known as O3+. I'm sure if you attended the previous webinar, you are able to get to know a bit about O3+, where we focus on student health and well-being, and it aims to reduce new HIV infections and unintended pregnancies and gender-based violence. I have experience in adolescent and youth programming, focusing on HIV and SRHR, that's sexual reproductive health and rights, for about 7 years now. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, and we'd also appreciate if you're able to see your face.
Okay, let me just put on my camera and then I do the presentation. Is that fine? Is the video okay? Yes. Hi, I am the Samantha. So if you allow me to go to the presentation, can I switch off my camera or I just leave it on?
If it will be on, the better. I just want to interact with you.
Okay, great. So Red App was first launched in 2019 at the University of Nairobi, where students came, there was a needs assessments done, and students had this great idea where we could use technology to reach more students with information on student health and well-being. So it provides accurate information for students, and with the way things keep on evolving, we also have to cater to what is relevant and resonates with young people. So it was launched in 2019 with the support from UNESCO. And rather, if you're a Kawa Kenyan, is a slang word for meaning beware, Karada, as you can see the slogans on both of them. So these two that you're seeing here are rather up for Kenya Medical Training College and University of Nairobi. So this is where we're also implementing the O3+ program for the two institutions. So this is their logo for RADA, and the app is available on Google Store and Play Store. So some of the key features of RADA is one, information access. So we have information on sexual reproductive health, we have information on mental health, information on HIV, alcohol and drug abuse, career mentorship. It also offers like dating tips, and also career guidance. And then we also have counseling services, whereby there's some counselors who institution counselors that are on the application where students can access them anonymously. So if a student is not ready to have a face-to-face counseling session with a counselor, they're able to access the counseling services anonymously, where they just select the counselor that they would want to speak to. And then it will just be an ongoing conversation whereby when the student is ready to access services face-to-face, then they are guided. Then we also have the emergency helpline. So includes a helpline for emergency situations, allowing students to report incidences and get immediate assistance. And also just on the emergency helpline, we have where you can go to get services or help in case you need help here. Then there's the interactive elements whereby we have chats, forums for students so that they can talk about anything that affects them. And then we also have direct reporting to university security for emergencies, just like also just under the emergency helpline also. Then it provides real-time updates on upcoming workshops, training, campus events. So that you're able just to get real-time news also. So then we have, the app is very user-friendly. It's not complicated, but we continuously update the app as the year goes by to ensure that it remains relevant. So the benefits of the app, one is a safe space. So accessing information on various topics, that this is accurate information. So the reproductive health, we've talked about mental health, drug abuse. You can also just seek for help from the app. Then we have a community whereby through these chats and discussions that students can access, they're able to hang out and connect, and they're able to ask each other questions. Sometimes also in these chats, we do have specialists who can also come in and give accurate information, where if there's a Q&A on the chat that has been asked and maybe no one can answer it properly, we have a specialist who could answer that. Then there's linkage to professional services and career guidance. So first of all, the app is linked to the student health services for both institutions, and where students can get advice and appointments for care. And they can also, again, connect to a counselor in real time. And then we have privacy and confidentiality. Like I said, you can access a counselor anonymously. You don't have to show your face, or if you're not ready, or if you're feeling a bit shy or embarrassed. But again, you're not supposed to feel shy or embarrassed when you're trying to seek for help or information. So those are some of the benefits we have from the app. Then I'll just take you through the dashboard on how it looks like. So generally, when you open the app, you have information, student counseling, student forums, quick notifications, help, student mentorship, podcasts, and then we have a digital scorecard. So that's after you've received a certain service from the health facility, you are able to give feedback. So maybe just say what they can improve on, what you liked best, if you are served to your expectations. So this is just generally how the dashboard looks like. Then the information we're talking about, we have the alcohol and drug abuse, sexual reproductive health, general health, mental health, safety. When we're talking about dating, GBV, HIV, and career and financial management. Then on the forums, we have the peer-to-peer conversations. These are some of the forums that we have. And this is how it kind of looks like. So this is just one of the forums, like general health. Then we have now responding to emergencies, like we have contacts to call. These are some of the counselors we have in the app. Then we have directions to the health center and gender desk in both institutions. Through the support of UNESCO, the institutions have been able to set up gender desks where students can go in and report cases, harassment or any issues they've gone through. And then also we have the wellness centers in both institutions, whereby students can also go to seek counseling services or just go in there and relax. They're very different from a classroom setup. It's more of a relaxed setup. So under the direction to health center and gender desk, we also have directions to the wellness centers. And then now the feedback on health services, which is the scorecard. so to ensure quality health services and just giving feedback to healthcare providers. Then we have some student voices on Radar. So they use Radar to spread awareness, find Radar easy and relates with young people, and also encouraging young people to use it for information on contraception, pregnancy, etc. And then also able to seek guidance. Out of this, from having the app starting at your end, we'll also be able to have the app in KU, where St. Paul's University. I'm forgetting some other institutions, but we've been spreading. There's also been Egerton, Pwani, Masinde Muliro, but we're also still working to ensure that they're properly set up in those institutions as we continue trying to expand O3+ just beyond KMTC and University of Nairobi. So if there are any UN students or KMTC students who are here and you're wondering how to access information, you could just go to the Play Store or iOS, to the Apple Store and download the app. You can also ensure to interact with the O3+ program in both institutions where we have different activities going on for information sharing, also for awareness, also just ensuring like get services like, ensuring your HIV testing, mental health assessment, just other services that probably to go for when we're having activities. I just what we usually have health drives to ensure that students are able to access services that probably you normally not think of, but at least during those activities you could go for. So the app is a powerful tool that supports the health and well-being of students, and it provides vital information, just like I've been saying. And also where you see the students sitting in this picture, this is our wellness center in UN. So students can also go there to just relax and get away from the many student stresses in school. Other than that, thank you so much. And if we have any questions, I'm sure we'll get to them and I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Samantha. Guys, you can clap for our guest of our first guest of the day, Miss Samantha, and really appreciate you for your time and just telling us more in details about Radar app and how best our listeners can access the information and where they can download the app. So you also clarified more about UN Radar app and KMTC Radar app. So anyone who is joining this call, I know we'll be doing an activation in the next few days. That is most probably on Monday at University of Nairobi. So keep it rolling and share the information. So at this point in time, even before I invite our next guest, that is Aisha Roba, I'm going to play a short video to just have a short icebreaker of how the Radar app is. So here we go.
What do you think about this dating site? You could join lookcupid.com. Well, I almost created a profile too until I saw my uncle on one of them. Mary, ungejua zile fake profiles ziko online, hauwezi try. Profile photo ni kimale model na 6-pack. Ngoja mkutane, sisemi kitu. I'm talking from experience. That's true. I'm some psychopath who keeps sexting you day and night. Just stick to social media, my dear. Mary, achana na hawa. You go ahead and create one. You never know. Maybe that's where you were meant to meet the one. But my friends from class have men who they met online, bankrolling them. If you see the kind of life they live, oh my God, you will not talk. Me, I've made up my mind. I'm going to put up my profile. I may just be the next Queen Shaba. Sawa, jibambe msupa. Go ahead. Try your luck then. Usiseme tu haukuambiwa. Mary, do you? You only na ile siku nitapita hapa na rent yangu nisiwaone mkifuraha eti Mary leave, Mary sijui nenda.
Hi, you must be Mary. I could tell it was you from your beautiful smile. Later, this placement of you.
Oh, thank you. It's so kind. I didn't know what to look for.
Yes, sorry, I didn't have a nice photo of food on my profile. Do you have something to drink? Coffee, tea, perhaps a glass of wine, or is it too early to drink?
Sure, I'll have some wine. It's 9 o'clock somewhere, right?
Wow, you're pretty and funny. What a wonderful combination. I put all of your most expensive wine. I'll also be having some. Thank you. Where did you learn to be so funny? You look barely liquid. You can drink it.
Well, I just turned 20, if that's what you're asking. I'm studying public relations at college in town. Also like traveling, shopping, and making new friends.
This must be a lucky day. Have you been to the port? I'm traveling there and I would be delighted to take you with me.
I've never been outside the city. I'd love to go there. My God, the ocean looks so beautiful and calm. I want to go swimming, but I don't know how. Can you teach me, darling?
But we have just arrived. You haven't even finished unpacking your clothes. Come with us for a while. The ocean will be there even tomorrow.
How can you rest in this my first time to the beach? If you don't take me, I'll go by myself.
It must be the flight that wore me out. Let's just rest for a while. Maybe go out for a romantic dinner tonight, then wake up first thing in the morning and go swim when there are fewer people.
Don't be a lazy old man who wants to nap all the time. Can we go before the sun sets?
Lazy old man. That's how you see me, eh? When you come here and say sorry, you spoiled brat.
What if I don't? What can you do?
Don't take my kindness for weakness. I'm a snake, and now you're rattling me.
Continue being rattled. I'm going to the beach with or without you.
Go ahead. There is the door. Just take your bags with you because I'm going back to the city.
How can you do that to me? After all the good things I said on the way here.
That's the problem with you guys of today. We just want to take without giving anything back. What did you think we were coming to do? If I wanted to see the beach, I would have come alone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just overexcited. You're not old, sweetie.
I don't want to hear anything else from you other than yes tonight. Refuse me again and I'm done with you, understood?
Yes, again I said I'm sorry.
Can you take off your clothes and come into the bed? You can go to the beach all week if you want, but today you are all mine.
But Frank, I don't think I'm ready to.
But what? What did I say? You want me to walk out of here and leave you without a single cent?
No.
Then turn off the lights and get into the bed right now.
Right. So that gives us just a snip of what Imara TV does. And if you want to access more of these kind of nicely animated information, you can check into Imara.tv online, and you can be able to sign up and even watch more clips and share with your friends. So even as you now want to move to the next level by inviting one of our another speaker, that is Miss Aisha, I just want to mention that despite the fact that there has been a little gap in engaging men and boys with issues ending violence, we also have some underlying factors that hold these happenings back, like culture, religion, and masculinity, among others. When you look in the context of Kenya, Kenya has instituted great legal and policy reforms established by institutions to prevent and respond and manage even gender-based violence. But there's still the rise of different kinds of GBV like FGM, among others. The question is, what is the of men in ensuring that our girls and women are safe? So GBV can be in multiple forms, including physical, sexual, psychological, and even economic, and can be fueled by different social, cultural, economic, legal, and political causes. So far, Kenya has high rates of violence against women and girls, including intimate partner violence, child pregnancy, female genital mutilation, as well as forced child marriage. And according to KDHS 2022, around 16% of our women and 10% of men reporting having experienced physical violence in the last 12 months. And 34% of the women and 7% of these men in Kenya have experienced physical violence since the age of 15 years old. So you can just imagine how people have experienced different kinds of GBV. So to just elevate this to the next level, allow me to invite our next panelist, that is Miss Aisha Hussein, who is a 29-year-old community advocate with a background in community studies. She also has devoted her life to her family and the betterment of her community. Her unwavering commitment to making a difference is evident in her work and passion for advocacy and her remarkable achievements as an award-winning activist against female genital mutilation. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me invite Miss Aisha Hussein to just have a camera on and talk to us. Yes, Aisha, over to you. Thank you. Aisha, you're mute. You're muted. Kindly mute.
Sorry, Tony. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me take this opportunity to thank you, Tony, and your team for having me as a speaker for this important engagement. My name is Aisha Hussein Roba. Sorry, I am 30 years old. Yeah. So I am the founder and director at a local community-based organization. It's called Every Girl Stream. That is based in Isiolo County. We advocate for the right of women and girls. And we've been in existence since 2018. And I started the organization out of my own personal experience that I had after undergoing female genital mutilation. And since then, we've been advocating against all forms of gender-based violence. So I think today's session is an engaging one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing my insights and my experiences as an activist who has been in this field for quite a long time. And unfortunately, I have no presentation. I have no written presentation, so you will bear with me. Yeah, so I said I started the organization in 2018 because of the issues that I went through as a result of female genital mutilation. And today's topic being the importance of men and boys engagement in terms of addressing the issues of gender-based violence. And it's very important to engage men and boys because, honestly speaking, when we look at different forms of gender-based violence and even the other forms of sexual violence, most of the time you'll find that it's our men and boys who are the perpetrators. And as much as they are the perpetrators, we can also have them as allies of putting an end to different forms of violences. Let me address an issue like female genital mutilation that is very rampant in this side of the country. When you look at the setup of the community, it's the men who are the head of the households in different cultures. So what the man says is what happens in that house. Undergo female genital mutilation, then that is what happens. If the man gives an order of, I want my girl to be married off, that is what is going to happen. So most of the time, our women and girls have no say of what is supposed to happen to them in terms of decision making. So if we have men and boys mostly make decisions on behalf of women and girls, then there's an issue, and it's an issue that needs a collaborative effort to address. So when we involve men in the fight against different forms of gender-based violence, what I believe is we can put an end to all these vices, because even in terms of our religion, when you look at the setup, most of the time it's the male religious leaders who have the final say in whatever decision that is going to be made. When you look at the culture, the cultural setup, who are the custodians of our culture are men, and they are the ones who we look up to in terms of saying what needs to be done or what needs not to be done. So when we address these issues collaboratively, engaging men and boys, because where we go wrong most of the time is when we address different forms of violence. I'm referring to an issue like FGM, because most of the time as a community, we believe that to put an end to FGM, we believe and we assume that it is an issue that needs the effort of women and girls to be addressed. But when we look at it, it's an act that is being perpetrated by men or the elders in our community, because they believe they want to marry girls or women who have already undergone female genital mutilation. So we assume the strength that we can get from our men in terms of addressing these issues. So I think it's very critical to engage men and boys and even our male elders, because they are the decision makers at the end of the day, and it's very important to engage them. Again, when it comes to the issues of decision making, I think with constant creating of awareness to the community and engaging these religious leaders who are mostly men and the elders, I believe that if we engage them, we can take a very short time to put an end to all forms of gender-based violence. So again, when you look at the issue of a violence like femicide that is very high in Kenya, most of the perpetrators who are doing this is men. So if we don't take time to sensitize our men and boys, to sit down with them, to engage them in different conversations that we have, be it community dialogues, be it media engagements we are having right now, we need to have men and boys in every single dialogues that even at community levels. Tony, to you.
Yeah, Aisha, even before you disappear,
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I just want to bring you back because you've touched on issues men tending to own the cultures and making this. There's a lot of happenings when it comes to intimate partner violence that is affecting most of the young people, most of the learnings. And rather up, as earlier mentioned by Samantha, it's one of the innovation approaches that is being used to address these issues, and even how best they can be. So maybe just to ask, what there's a femicide happening, a lot of intimate partner violence, a little bit of
Yeah, so I think of intimate partner violence. It's true. It's on the rise, because I believe first, most of the intimate partner violence that I have personally seen is really with the young people. And when you look at this kind of violence, most is being perpetuated by the issue of the young people and the use of drugs, and them not being cognizant of who am I engaging in terms of who I want to be with in life first. So most of the time we don't look at the long term solutions to like the issues that we have. So we don't have that. We don't sit together as partners and discuss, this is what we want to have in our relationship, and this is what needs to be done for us to live together or for us to have a better relationship. So I think most of the issues that are being perpetuated by this issue is we don't have a sit down as partners on what we want to do in life together, or what we want to have in life together. So we find ourselves, especially as young people, you just get into a relationship, you want to be done your way. You don't have as people who are in this relationship together. So I think most of the issues are issues that can be solved by two people who are in this relationship together. So I think it's important for also young people, or even whoever is getting into a relationship, to know, what do I want when I'm getting into this relationship? Because when you look at it, people kill each other because of maybe infidelity issues. People have issues because of, maybe when I got into this relationship, this is what I wanted, and this is the vision I had of our relationship. But if it's not what you're getting at the end of it, then that's where now the issue of killings and mistrust and judging each other and killing each other comes in. So the issue of intimate partner violence, it's just about coming together, listening in our relationship, and this
over 250 plus people watching this conversation, both in our on Zoom. So platform, I even seeing questions and comments streaming into the chat. I know we're going to have like around some 20 to 10 minutes later to ask questions. Process of these issues more so among the university students. And do you think that as a country, Kenya, we've worked tirelessly to ensure that the reporting mechanisms in our country can favor the Gen Zs to be able to
country, most of the spaces that we have, especially the police stations, we don't have gender desks like where women can feel safe to report on issues. So I think as a country, it's important gender desks across all the
Aisha, I think we lost you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, no,
so I think when it comes to the issues of reporting also, it becomes very hard because people be a police station to report on a sexual assault. So I think I've mentioned on gender desks, especially when you look at the have gender desks in most of the police stations. So I think it's very important also referral pathways that am I supposed to do once been raped? What's the next step? Where do I go to do? I go to a police station. So I think there's also a need for people to be sensitized on different existing referral pathways.
Okay, now I think this will be maybe like my last question. Then I'll just let you to have a breath even as we bring in Leshan Kareto. So tell me something from a woman perspective, a woman context. Men shy away from reporting violence. Mwanaume akipigwa slap, they rather disappear and go and cry somewhere in the forest. Where your voice? Apart from this, I to feel comfortable in the participation rather than engagement to ending gender-based violence. Over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Tony. I think it's a very valid question because, honestly speaking, all the focus has shifted to women and girls than men, which is true. Because men and boys are also going through a lot. When you look at the issues of drug abuse and the issues of maybe not getting employment and being frustrated and going into drug abuse, maybe some going into robbery. Also, our men and boys are going through a lot. And when it comes to the issue of reporting cases of maybe violence, it's not only women and girls who are going through violence. We've seen even men being beaten by their wives, being beaten properly by their wives, but they feel like they'll be judged when they go and report these cases. Or if maybe young boys are sodomized, they feel afraid to go and report these cases because, again, we go back to the issue of being judged by the community or whoever maybe I'm reporting to. So I think I want to take this chance to talk to our boys and men. If you've experienced any form of violence, it's proper and important for you to go and report, to follow the existing referral pathways that are there. Go report these cases. Do not be afraid, because at the end of it all, it's your right. You also have a right to report. You also have a right to be free from all forms of violence. So as we also address these issues, it's not only about women and girls. It's about all human beings and all genders. So it's important for you to report whenever you feel like your right has been violated, because at the end of the day, we go back again to the Kenyan Constitution that protects all Kenyans. So yeah, thank you, Tony.
Right. So thank you so much. We'll definitely get back to you so that to dive deeper in the conversation. And just as you've mentioned that it's very key for men and boys to express themselves and be able to share their problems, more so when it comes to issues violation, because GBV can down you anytime, and there's no excuse in raising a hand, or there's no excuse in violating a man or a woman's rights. Yeah, and it is said that we are living in a man. So and where did you lose a lot? But I know when we stand together without putting men outside the conversation, we'll be able to end these forms of violation that both our women and men face. Because even as we speak right now, there's a lot of unreported cases of sodomy in different counties. But who is reporting these issues? Who is addressing these issues? Yeah. So I think it's key for us to ensure that we don't leave these men behind and have a continuous conversation, with the men with a keen intention that even men voices are heard, and trust me, addressing GPV in Africa demands an urgent and comprehensive collaboration and intentional, teamwork, so that both the men and boys do not feel like they're discriminated. And beyond the escalation of this violence in the conflict zones, there are also a lot of pending threats that are imposed in both the men and the boys. But the issue is, who is ready to stand voice for these men and boys? Yeah, that's why even when Aisha she's making a commitment to address these issues, personally, I feel encouraged to walk the journey together to ensure that both men and the boys are safe in the conversation. Even in programming and budgeting, let's ensure that there's comprehensive budgeting that even also empowers the men and the boys. So at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to usher in our next speaker. That is Mr. Leshan Kereto. Leshan, if you can hear me, just have your camera on and stay put. So Mr. Leshan Kereto is an award-winning and SRHR champion, and previously served as the chairperson of the United Nations Population Fund Kenya Youth Advisory Panel. So he's also the founder of Tareto Africa, a community-based organization in Narok County, Kenya, that is widely involved in sexual and reproductive health rights advocacy, mainly focusing on addressing issues against female genital mutilation, gender-based violence, such as sex for parts, that is transactional sex. So, Leshan, if you can hear me, kindly please take it on and just share with us in depth and in details what we mean by saying men and boys engagement to end gender-based violence. Leshan, over to you. You can hear me.
Thank you so much, Tony, and I hope you can hear me clearly. Join you this session to discuss on this very candid topic, especially around sexual and reproductive health, particularly in gender-based violence towards ending FGM. I think the previous speakers have already dived into gender-based violence, and which is very important because then it means we are talking about violence that is being impacted on people based on their gender. Social injustices and harmful practices have continuously gone against women, and that's why we advocate for ending gender-based violence against women and girls, because they are the more vulnerable and they're usually the demography that has continuously over the years faced a lot of gender-based violence. I'm to be one who has championing for the rights of girls and women in the Maasai community. I studied in the Maasai community, but I've been able to travel around, present in 16 countries, advocating for many countries. Kuma, towards championing young people to engage in ending female genital mutilation, harmful practices like marriage, and even in broad gender-based violence from different views. I've been active in advocating for gender-based violence against women and girls, particularly in harmful practices, but I also help to fight gender-based violence that faces boys. Cases of sodomy that we faced in Narok. I've been able to work together with our team at Tareto Africa to help them in the reproductive health rights for young boys, but also engage them towards getting things like therapy, drug and substance abuse help, and also in engaging them towards living up to their full potential by letting them know how much their mental health is important and how men and boys can also be engaged towards not only talking about issues about women, but also talking about their own issues. So as you know, sexual and reproductive health, everyone has a reproductive health need. And the perspective that we've used to penetrate and talk to young men, we've also prioritized their own sexual and reproductive health needs. We usually have this gender-based violence being called a women's issue because we do not care about the needs of men when it comes to sexual reproductive health. We do not want to engage them on, in discussions about family planning. We do not want to engage them on issues about, gender-based violence that engages them on things like prostate cancer, on things like bedwetting, which are also sexual and reproductive health needs that faces them. So for us, we have seen the need to not only talk about it, but also to look into prioritizing the needs so they can be on the table and we can have a conversation. This is important because number one, we environment children. I believe gender-based violence starts when people are children. When people when people start in a family where it's very normal for a man to come in drunk and beat up a woman, for example, try to strangle the woman and beat up and continuously just say, women must be punished and stuff. It creates information that goes into the minds of children, knowing that it's okay to beat up a woman or to cause gender-based violence on girls, and it's okay to get away with it, which is something that is common. So I think since men are also part of communities, and the basics of communities is actually families, I think it needs to start there. For us to be able to create a safe environment for children, we must engage men and boys who are actively working as fathers, as brothers, as people who have a voice when it comes to shaping the social norms of our society. We also want men to take action when it comes to ensuring the safeguarding of the child rights of their own children, because these girls that are being beaten are someone's child or someone's sisters or cousin. So there's someone who's not taking responsibility, and many of them are usually men. And one thing that we really have to understand is sometimes there is a difference between perpetrating and causing. We usually really confusing between those words. Sometimes men are not necessarily the one beating up women, might be or causing and makes it normal to cause violence. So while even approaching, we do not go to the community and point fingers. If you point fingers, you're also simply also creating a form of violence. So you approach, you're also letting them know that even by them existing in an environment that allows women to undergo gender-based violence is a perpetration in itself. It's also called abetting when it comes to the practice of FGM. I think the other part is about ending these toxic ideas of harmful practices. Usually, when you are driving normally, maybe in Nairobi or any other city, if the next car in you is driving wrongly or cuts you across wrongly, it's very easy to say, "Huyo ni mwanamke anaendesha," or doing that. That's some of the and approach becomes worse because talk about when it ends becoming intimate partner violence becomes there's normal ideas that we just tolerate end up in femicide. That's why we are seeing now when it comes to people finding it so normal to rape a woman or have them undergo a lot of mental health issues, or for example end up in having to really be afraid of their lives because the ideas that are being sent out are those of toxic masculinity. The best approach that we talked about is at least making sure that men have a positive approach. And myself, I'm a member of the International Gender Champions, which is composed of global champions who have decided to work towards ending gender-based violence. And it also it includes head of UN agencies. It also includes diplomats and permanent missions. And one thing I am supposed to not to work on is to go into a panel and speak that is not gender balanced. So when a platform does not respect women and girls, I cannot speak in it. Why? Because I'm trying to not only talk about gender-based violence, but also to ensure that I do not tolerate an environment that disrespects girls and women. That is the way that we talk about it. So not only talking, but also making sure that we create a safe space for women to also feel like their voices are heard. Men can also be, when a man is beating up a woman, the best person to safeguard that woman is a man, most of the time, because most of the men can face another man and tell them to his face that he's a loser or beating up a man. So men can also be safe houses. So we are not talking about being perpetrators or causers, but they can also be safe houses. And they can be safe spaces. They can be places that women can open up, and we can have a, let's say, a man-to-man conversation where men can also create a people and who are causing gender-based violence. We also, men have a critical role of, still have critical the Senate. Look at the presidency over the last many years that we've had as a country. You cannot simply neglect men from being in the conversation. For example, the role of a man like President Uhuru Kenyatta, who wants to declare to end FGM by 2022, even though he didn't achieve it. But him creating a safe space where Kenya was a global leader towards ending harmful practices like female genital mutilation. It really cascaded the effort that we were putting in towards ending female genital mutilation. That was a man who was able to influence a lot of people towards eliminating these harmful practices. And I believe that many other people who are holding offices can come in to not only offer this service of creating a safe space, but they can organize them being also equally just like other organizations, making sure that there's zero gender-based violence in many of these spaces. The other very important point is about consent. And touching the female genitalia of a woman, that is already gender-based violence. Molesting children because they cannot say no is already a form of gender-based violence. Another violence that we do not talk about is usually the digital violence or online violence. Tony and I ran an initiative at UNFPA called Body Right Campaign, where we were creating awareness for people to understand the bodies of men. And more than half of women had reported to have faced a case of gender-based violence online because of their gender. And digital violence is causing mental health issues. It's leading to people committing suicide. It's leading to women being located and killed and raped in their own houses. It's leading to people facing extreme form of gender-based violence online. So it's also about us educating men about consent. You cannot share for example, pictures that are devastating to tarnish the name of a person just because of their gender. We can only do this if women can know about consent. They can know the importance of a body and the fact that people own their own bodies and they are free to do with them what they can do without necessarily pointed fingers at by another person. We also want to talk about a masculine issue where people feel manly enough only if you are able to force someone to undergo a case like that. I think it's about the time that we bring out the cases of survivors of rape who have come out and survived, and we talk to them and we bring them and let them think whether they will be okay if that happened to their daughters or their cousins. Because my experience working with Maasai men who are usually called, many people call them Morant, is usually when you have a cousin, a distant cousin, a neighbor who undergoes FGM or child marriage, is usually okay for them. And you will actually attend those events and say it's okay. But when you touch their daughter, that little girl called Gift or Ivy, they don't want them to be touched. So why is it okay when it happens to another person, but only when it comes to those children, their own children, those little girls, they do not allow. If it's not okay for those girls, it's not okay for any girl. And that's why men should come in to talk about these issues and just stop it, because you might not necessarily face it coming into your daughter, but later on it usually comes around and happens to you, and you get to face and you really get to feel the pain of it when you take your own medicine. It's about time that we talk about starting a conversation to that men can engage. It is also time to start a conversation. When you're starting a conversation, you don't point fingers and you don't play the blame game of you are the one who was causing it, you are the perpetrators, you're the ones who do it. No one will listen to you. You want to bring in men to not only be part of the conversation, but to also be accountable. Be accountable in reasons that can help them to also hold other people accountable, such that if we, for example, are in a classroom and gender-based violence is happening, so it's only women who should talk about it. Even men can talk about it. Men can come in to hold other men accountable. That is the only time that we can make progress and we can talk about that we are making any progress. The other time that we can only be able to see progress is when men bring in their resources. Until they bring in their resources into this conversation, we have not won. Because where your resources are, that is where your heart is. So when you do not contribute towards this conversation, you do not attend a time like this, time resource into a conversation like this, when you do not contribute money to help a girl who has undergone gender-based violence, when you do not care when a girl has undergone fistula, and you do not see them coming in to contribute and have those girls undergo at least reconstruction, then it means they do not see this as a priority. And that means they will continue having that continue, and because they don't feel the pain. So the only time that we know that we are making progress with engaging men is when we are able to comfortably start a conversation anywhere, be it in a road, be it in the gym, be it in a classroom, be it on the streets, when we can have a conversation without having to point fingers. That is progress. When men start having holding other people accountable, other men accountable, and making those calls and talking about these issues openly and holding men accountable, that it's not okay for you to have anyone else undergo gender-based violence. Then we make progress. When we see men bringing in their resources, attending conferences like this, defending their daughters, defending their cousins, and bringing in the money that helps, for example, to treat some of these girls when they face all these issues, then we have not made any progress. So the 16 days of activism is usually a time to revisit. It's a time to talk about the unique issues that we are supposed to be talking about. And it's about time that we also come in to sensitize duty bearers. I think it was very devastating to see the police tear gas the ladies and the protesters when we were talking about the protest the other day in Nairobi. It was very sad to see that, and I think it's time that we also talk to the police about gender-based violence. That it's not about just gassing another protester. It's about engaging these men. It's about engaging them as duty bearers to also come into the conversation and make sure that they do not at least fight cases like femicide. When we are fighting femicide, we are not fighting the government or we are not fighting the police. We are simply defending the rights of women and girls, which is something that should be a priority to everyone. And so those are the conversations that we should start to have. And let me tell you, we can never achieve success if we leave half the population out of the conversation. If we let this conversation to only be only a women-only conversation, we will never achieve anything, because achieving success is a 50-50. And not only, should you engage women and girls, but you should also engage men and boys. Not just men and boys, but also into the different cadres of men and boys. There are men in roles in religion. There are men who are leaders. There are men who are persons with disabilities. There are men living in informal settlements. There are men and boys living, in pastoralist communities. Those are the different cadres. We don't want to engage men in totality. Let us go into those different cadres that that we can continue talking about these issues and also face it as it is from all corners. Otherwise, thank you so much. It was a very beautiful conversation to discuss with you, and I do look forward to continue conversing. Let us stand against gender-based violence in all forms. Thank you so much.
Right, fantastic and interesting sentiments there in Leshan, and I'm glad that you also mentioned some of the areas that we've worked keenly with you, and we're still working on the same areas. I've been skimming through the comment sections, and I just want to read through because this touches on what you have just mentioned. It is always said that it's so difficult to bring men together in a conversation. So, Leshan, I don't know if do you think that there's been enough awareness and also engagement of men and boys as allies to end gender-based violence? Over to you, Leshan.
I must say that there is progress that is being made. I think more than ever before, we've had as much engagement. People like me have done conversations with elders, with with morans. We've also engaged religious leaders. We've gone across, but then we are very few who are doing that. There's still a big conversation that needs to be done. There's still many people who need to be engaged. And by the existence of gender-based violence, by the existence of femicide, it just shows you that still we have not done enough. So until we see zero gender-based violence, we have not done enough. And there is so much that we can still do.
All right, fantastic. So even as you still have your camera back on, we have over 500 people watching this live. There is a chat that needs your attention over here. There's someone who just mentioned that men are their own enemies, and also I don't know what you can say about that. And maybe to add on, there's a comment that I earlier saw, I don't know from who, that do you think women also contribute to this this vice of GBV? Leshan, over to you on camera.
Thank you. I think I'm not sure what was meant by men are their own enemies. But I want to believe that men perpetrating let's say gender-based violence are their own enemies, because at the end of the day, these are our colleagues, these are our friends, these are our classmates. And so by men perpetrating, they're not talking about it, just shows that we are own enemies. I want to understand it from that perspective. I'm not sure of the next question that you had asked. Could you ask again?
The question that asked that is it true that women are also key contributors to GBV?
Yes, it's true. To some extent, in some practices like like FGM, this practice is usually practiced by women, but then it's perpetrated by men. It is contributed by men, because then the demand to marry girls who are undergoing FGM is being brought by men. But then the practice in itself, in some of the cases like FGM, is done by women. Women have a role that they have continued to play in this case, because of the societal pressure that they have towards this. I think those are some of the cases that maybe we can talk about when it comes to the role of women. But then still, we as I said earlier, we don't want to make it a blame game, because we will get nowhere. People need to be accountable, take responsibility. If gender-based violence was done to your neighbor and you have nothing about it, but by the fact that you are in that environment, they did not speak about it, you are to blame. So all of us are to blame for any practice, and we do not want to make it a blame game war of who did this and who did not do. Yes, there are cases where women are perpetrated, but the biggest form of gender-based violence that we've seen has been perpetrated by men.
Fantastic. Even before I take us to a short break with a very interesting clip, it is true, whatever Leshana has mentioned, and most of us have really been part of this conversation. The only challenge is that we face in the community. Some of us have even been chased away when you try to ensure that we protect the men and the men, boys, girls, and women in the communities. But I just understand also the role of men and boys in this conversation is that the social constructs of masculinity often glorify the dominance and aggression and control, which contribute to normalization of gender-based violence, which is really quite wanting. So I believe that engaging men and boys in the conversation about gender-based gender equality allows them to keenly reflect on the norms and recognize the harm they cause to both men and women. So we need to work together without bringing any form of competition to ensure that we challenge these stereotypes and actively engage the boys and the men without rejecting them. And it is key for us to understand social behaviors. You see? So allow me just to read some few comments even as I take you to a short break, then we come for the Q&A. I'm seeing so many questions, both on in all our streams. I just want to read some few. I'm seeing Douglas saying that communities thrive when men and boys are equipped to be leaders and promoting awareness and continuous dialogue to end GBV. Also seeing a comment from Saringi saying that male champions are vital in addressing GBV. To Leshan, well done, a clap to Leshan for being a voice in fostering mentorship to model positive behaviors to young men in the Ma family community. That is the Maasai community. So, wow, okay. I'm seeing also there's a question here. Leshan has not clarified on the point that men are their own enemies. Even me, I'm trying to understand what you mean, Sajnad, that what do you mean by saying men are their own enemies? Maybe that will have it. We can give the mic to contribute after this short break. So allow me just share with you my screen once again for a short clip, and then we'll get into the Q&A.
Pita mwanangu, haya ni mambo ya kawaida tu. Ambacho ndio bado nifanyia kutoka niko mdogo si sawa. Si sawa. Kwa hivyo akusema babako mdogo ambaye alitampiga. Wataka ende jela? Na tusisahau tumesema mimba ni ya nani? Pesa. Lakini mama hakuna cha lakini. Tutamwekelea kwa sababu kwa wao ni matajiri. Na usisahau huyu mzee amefikiria kwanza babako asikie.
Nasikia mtoto anataka kunishtaki. Kwa hivyo umekuwa mtu mzima, sio unataka kunishtaki. Sio? Bibi. Naam. Hujamwambia sisi mambo yetu haya wazee wa mitaa na ishalo humu. Vitu zinafanyika nini na nini blaze tunamaliza hapa. Na hiki kikao sitaki kukiona. Hakuna popote pale mimi nitapeleka. Kivunjwe hiki kikao. Sitongolee macho hapo kama tutapenda amepanga na papa.
Baba mimi kama mtoto wake kwa nini yeye asione? Nikataa hilo. Na pia ana haki ya kusikiliza. So, full stop. Bila ambavyo nitasema itakuwa hivi. Sawa.
Right. So thank you so much once again for tuning in to watch that short clip. I don't know whether it was clear or should I pardon it. I don't know if my internet was stable. Let me see what the comment section says. Maybe I can repeat it again. But if all of you are able to follow through the conversation, then you're good. So at this point in time, allow me to now open it up for Q&A. If anyone has a question, if anyone has a comment, okay, should I? Okay, I'm seeing a comment that I should repeat the video again. Okay, let me play it again then, Andy.
Kiza mwanangu, haya ni mambo ya kawaida. Si sawa. Kwa hivyo akasema babako mdogo ambaye wataka ende jela. Na tusisahau tumesema mimba ni ya nani? Lakini mama, hakuna cha lakini. Tutamwekelea kwa sababu kwa wao ni matajiri. Na usisahau huyu mzee amekulea kuanzia babako.
Nasikia mtoto anataka kunishtaki. Kwa hivyo umekuwa mtu mzima, sio anataka kunishtaki. Sio? Bibi, hujamwambia sisi mambo yetu haya wazee wa mitaa na ishalo humu. Vitu zinafanyika nini na nini blaze tunamaliza hapa. Na hiki kikao sitaki kukiona. Hakuna popote pale mimi nitapeleka. Kivunjwe hiki kikao. Tutongelee macho hapo kama tutapeli amepanga la baba. I won't. Kama mimi kama mtoto wake kwa nini yeye asione hivyo? Nikataa hilo. Na pia ana haki ya kusimiliki so. Full stop. Vile ambavyo nitasema itakuwa sawa.
Right, so that brings the end to that short video, that short clip. So allow me now open it up. If you have any question, any comments to share with us. I know Leshan has just left us to indulge in another engagement. So I don't know if there's any question to our guests. Okay, let me just read through the comments. I'm seeing Syrian following keenly. I learned that we also have guests joining from other far countries on the call. I see some friends from Sierra Leone, from even the US, from other countries. Thank you so much for getting time to sign up to join this conversation. I believe it has been quite engaging. So I see something saying that safe homes, workplaces, and communities are possible when men and boys actively work to end GBV and femicide. There's a mention about femicide issues. It is so sad that when our women and girls went out to, voice for the rights to end, to end femicide, they were unfortunately attacked by the authorities. So this is quite wanting, but we keep on fighting regardless. So I can also see a comment from Karaoke saying, I can say that there is not enough done when it comes to awareness on matters GBV, mostly on men. they need to be empowered for us to be able to, to have men championing against gender-based violence. So, Leshan, let's harness technology to address mental health, substance abuse, and SR and sexual health issues. So, also a thank you from Marilyn Hogan, who is saying thank you for presenting this important webinar. These messages need to be repeated anywhere GBV exists. And I like Leshan's point when he pointed out that where GBV is considered okay or a norm, that that is what needs to be challenged and talked about. So Ian Otieno says, I think he meant that most violence against men are done by men, and the stigmatization of men speaking up is a patriarchal construct which mostly upheld them. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for that. I don't know if there's any hand that has been raised. If you wanna put out any comment before I bring back again my guests to give us their parting shot. I don't know if Ms. Jane Kamau from UNESCO is on the call. Kindly, Steve, can help me check if Jane is on the call to jump in as we close. So I'll again take it back to Ms. Samantha. Just give us her closing remarks and a commitment from her side and UNESCO to ending GBV and engaging both men and boys. So Samantha Kaifaniemi, over to you.
Okay, Tony, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who has been able to take part in this conversation, which is a very important conversation on how involving men and boys is important and critical, because if we leave them out of the conversation and yet some of them go through the violence and some of them are the perpetrators, then we don't solve the issues. So as we finish this and even as we close, I don't think Jen is here, but these conversations should be ongoing and they shouldn't just stop here, because if they stop, then we're not doing anything about the situation. And for the young men who are also here, talk to your fellow friends, even to the ladies who are here, talk to your fellow male friends about these issues and help them understand and help them know that, that first of all, if they go through GBV, they can report and they shouldn't be ashamed about it. And also let them not be the perpetrators. We can find different ways to solve our issues and our situations. We don't have to resort to violence to anyone. Yes, thank you.
I thank you, Samantha, for the parting shot, and also let me say it's more of a closure for the meeting, talking on behalf of Jen. But allow me also bring back Aisha Hussein to share with us her closing remarks, even as we come close to ending this conversation. So Aisha, if you can hear me, take it on. Aisha, if you're there, you are muted. Kindly unmute and speak. Okay, unmute. Aisha, I saw you speak, but you are muted.
Tony, sorry. Ole.
Okay, so just to bring you back, just give us your parting shot, and maybe your parting smiles also when your camera is on. We'll appreciate it.
I'm still on mute. Okay, yeah. So mine is to just take this chance to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel, but it takes consolidated effort to bring an end all forms of gender-based violence. It doesn't mean that now that we've ended the 16 days of activism, this shouldn't be an opportunity for us to rest, but rather keep on with our advocacy work, keep sensitizing our communities, and when we have everybody on especially now that today are very important and yeah, it's very important to engage them. So I just want to say that if we work together and if we address
Okay, seemingly we've lost Aisha completely now. I know she's joining us all the way from the deep end village of Isiolo in the fields. So, I think I'll just close it out. I don't know if Aisha she's back. Samantha, you mentioned, is Jen on the call, or maybe any other colleague from UNESCO can just give us like a pattern shot?
No, Tony, I'm the one who's the only one on the call. Different colleagues have different engagements currently. But I could just say thank you again to everyone who's joined the conversations, to the presenters, to Imara TV for just holding these conversations during the 16 days of activism. And also, as Aisha has said, let's not only be a conversation that goes on during the 16 days of activism, but it's an ongoing conversation till we are at least free from violence against women and girls, and also even as we're talking about men today and also men. Even as we continue engaging with Imara, let's join them in driving change on ending GBV, and let us know that it's everybody's responsibility when it comes to ending gender-based violence. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you so much, Samantha, for the nice closing remarks. So from my end, it's been a pleasure having all of you join us, and I'm so happy to see over 500 people listening into this conversation, cutting across in all our stream medias today. And do you know what has happened on Twitter, guys? We are trending. So thanks to all the young people who have also taken time to help us to push this message, push this information out. Remember, it is high time for us to work collaboratively to ensure that we end this vice called gender-based violence. It starts with you as an individual. When Leshan mentioned about accountability, let us be accountable in whatever that we are doing to ensure that both the men and the boys and the women and the girls are safe in our communities. And it is high time.
Yes.
It is high time that we work together and collaborate intentionally.
Okay, thanks.
You can mute. It is high time for us to work together, to intentionally end gender-based violence. So maybe also just to give my parting shot from on behalf of Imara TV Kenya, we have given a commitment to work with young people, young creators, young innovators to ensure that we maximize on the art of creativity to create awareness, to create impact, and drive this information to people about ending gender-based violence. And remember, ending GBV requires a collective effort where the men and the boys are active participants into this solution. And this can only happen if we consider men and boys in terms of budgeting, in terms of intentional engagement without leaving them behind. So by fostering a keen partnership with women and girls, men and boys can co-create environments where equality and mutual respect thrive. And this can work best when the key stakeholders come in together to ensure that we end this. So how best can you do this? This is through education, advocacy, and taking action where men and boys can transform the narrative about gender and violence, contributing to a world where GBV is no longer tolerated. So together, indeed, we can drive and create a society that upholds dignity, equality, and safety for all. Personally, I always give a commitment to ensure that I maximize on my voice to ensure that every man, woman, boy, girl around me are safe and free from any form of gender-based violence. Once again, ladies and gentlemen of the call, dear delegates, my name is Olena Tony, gender expert, child protection and essential advocate working with Imara TV. Feel free to just check on Google, just type imara.tv. You are able to interact with our website. You can sign up as a creator, you can sign up as a and look into more of the things that we are doing at Imara TV. Once again, thank you so much. Your host today was Imara TV Kenya, working closely with UNESCO and Authority Plus. That's the Safe Campus campaign. Thank you and have a nice day, nice weekend, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Bullying is a form of violence that affects millions of students each year. It happens to anyone regardless of age or gender. Bullying is hurting someone on purpose. Bullying is hurting someone on purpose. It takes many forms, for example, verbal bullying like calling someone names, physical bullying and cyberbullying like posting mean things about someone online. So why do people bully? The people who bully are hurting from something. It may make them feel powerful at school, but helpless elsewhere. This doesn't justify bullying, but it can give us an understanding as to why it is happening. If you find yourself bullying, talk to someone. If you find yourself bullying, talk to someone. You can get help and start to have real friends. Meet Ruth. Ruth used to love school. But now she hates going because she gets verbally bullied about her clothes. Sometimes people call her ghetto, and it really hurts her feelings. But she is too afraid to tell anyone. Ruth's attitude changed and stopped talking in class. Her teacher noticed and got her to open up about her bullying. You deserve to feel safe and happy in school. If you witness bullying, you can help make it stop. Don't be quiet. Reach out to the person being bullied. Report the matter as soon as possible. If you feel safe to do so, tell the bully to stop. If we all work together, we can put an end to bullying.